Hello and welcome to episode 61 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews, the podcast where we take a random movie from Metacritic's all-time movie list. This is Colin.
This is Niall.
This is random movie 4182, Evil Dead 2 from 1987. Metascore 72, user score of 8.2, runs for 1 hour and 24 minutes. Had a budget of 3.5 and a box office of 5.9. Directed by Sam Raimi, he of Spider-Man original trilogy, and more recently Doctor Strange and the multitude of bullshit.
You'll see a bit of a crossover in those two movies. Mr. Bruce Campbell appears as the Ash, what's his face in this one, and as a hot dog type salesman in that movie.
It's not really a big part, I guess. Him and Sam Raimi are like childhood friends.
Yeah, and even in the Spider-Man movies, he always gets a 30-second cameo. I don't know. They have. I think he insists on sticking them in all his movies.
Yeah, he must get some good financial rewards for being in them. Nothing much else to say about the background of it. Obviously, Evil Dead 1 came out, I think in 82, was it? Something like that?
Yeah, 5 or 6 years before. And it was produced under a different production company, which caused some difficulties for Mr. Raimi.
Right, so obviously Evil Dead 1, just in a nutshell, Ash goes to the cabin, the same cabin with a bunch of 4 friends, and obviously they all get killed in all so many gory ways. And at the end of Evil Dead 1, a spirit runs from the forest through the house and straight into Ash's face, and that's the end of the movie. And so you're led, that's the end of the movie. I think Sam Raimi said, I didn't really want the story to go on. I was fine as an ending. It wasn't supposed to be a cliffhanger or anything. But I think his second movie sucked that he made, so he knew that he could actually get some more money into the coffers if he actually did the second movie.
Yeah, he actually got people like Stephen King to, push his production company. I think they were working on Maximum Overdrive at the time to stick some cash into his coffers, as you say.
Yeah, so actually at the start of this movie, there's a sort of pseudo recap of Evil Dead 1, which is very confusing because it's not a recap, it's a total retelling of the story. And I don't even know if they had the rights to the first movie, if they would do an original recap, because I don't think Sam Raimi gave a shit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, listen, this movie isn't about, if you care about continuity, you're watching the wrong movie.
Yeah,
it's not serious, and it's not meant to make all that much sense. It's meant to allow him to do some crazy crap with blood gushing and camera work, and just it's B-movie tastic, and that's what he wanted.
Yeah, and it's got his sort of fingerprints all over it. It's got the crazy camera angles, the sudden audio jumps and the visual jumps, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of jumps like that, but in a sort of comical way, it's kind of fun, to be honest with you. It's sort of
it's not there to give you a jump scare. It's there, like it's kind of in your face, sort of. It's not scary. It's the gore isn't all that real, so it's not all that disgusting because of that fact. I think he was just enjoying himself, to be honest.
Yeah. So so it sort of recaps that he's in the cabin already. Goes across the bridge from the same Evil Dead, slightly higher one than it was in the first one.
I love that little scene where it's almost like a 2D model of the car driving across the bridge.
Sort of Wes Anderson-esque.
Very much so.
Yeah. He gives her a necklace like he gave for his girlfriend in the first one.
With the same name?
The same name. And he plays the tape recorder that opens up the rift and sends all the Evil Dead through. And so she gets possessed. He buries her. And then he basically...
Yeah, and we're 6 minutes in at this point.
Yeah, it's totally like a fast recap of where we're supposed to be in this movie, and it doesn't really let the foot off the pedal after this. Really, it's full on. This
I,
entire place is possessed.
I love the scene where the car is being chased by the disembodied evilness. I love the manicness of it.
It's all manic.
Yeah, I think it's intentionally manic the whole way. And it basically doesn't stop, apart from one scene where a lady's getting off an airplane that has feck all to do with it.
Which actually happens pretty soon. It's It's one thing I'll note from here is it's sort of superimposed a face on the cabin and first utterance of "join us."
It was really piss poor.
Yeah. It's very Amityville Horror House. Two eyes.
Yeah. And listen, I'm sure he could have done a better effect, but he chose not to.
Yeah, and at this point, Ash was possessed, but then the sun came up and he wasn't possessed. But then the sun goes down very quickly after that, and so he's the demon is gone from him, so he's sort of Ash for the time being.
There's a nice transition. I think it was at the bridge as well, where the moon sort of he's superimposed across a sky scene. The moon's just coming out from behind the cloud, and the demons are coming back.
It's very similar to the first movie. Lots of smoke billowing out of nowhere in front of a massive moon. Again, I think they sort of stuck with the recipe. If it's not broke, don't fix it, and let's just ramp up the gore and the comedic. It's more comedic, this one, than the first one.
Yeah, I think the first one's meant to be kind of a horror with a bit of slapstick, if you will, but this doesn't bother pretending to be just solely a horror movie. It's like, especially later on with the hands and stuff, that's just comedy. That's not horror.
Yeah. So yeah, that scene, like, so Annie is the daughter of the archaeologist that owns the cabin, who recites the words that bring the dead into the living. So he lands with another bloke and heads towards the cabin because she wants to meet up with her dad.
She's found the extra pages that will play some significance later on.
Yeah. So Ash is back in the cabin at this stage, and yeah, it's non-stop from here on out. Piano plays, and then Linda's headless corpse starts dancing around.
Suggestively,
fun. Yeah, it's all fun. It's like if it was done, it's sort of like Jason and the Argonauts type quality.
Yes, a stopgap animation type thing. Like, intentionally, again, really cheap, kind of nasty looking, but it kind of fits.
Yeah, I think maybe they took at the end of the first movie, there was a lot of stop motion animation with the dead people dissolving and lots of green shit coming out of them, and maybe they got some feedback that was the best part of the movie, so hey, let's just do some more stop motion or whatever.
Just lean into the really crap thing that everybody loved.
Yeah. It was 87. I don't know if this was meant to be good or bad, or whether it looked good back then. I can't really remember what stage we were at with stop motion animation at that stage in 87.
To be honest, for that type of thing, you couldn't really get much better unless you hired the Muppets people,
Yeah.
You really had to spend a lot of money to get better than what they did in this, I guess. And this movie has not a big budget.
Yeah, but at the same time, they put Sam's brother in the Henrietta costume and made him do effective. That. Yeah, so like get somebody in in Linda's corpse body and get them to dance around. I don't know why they choose these things.
I was
production
suspicion that the fact it looks crap is kind of the point.
Yeah. So at this point, he's kind of delirious, dreaming. He wakes up and head falls in his lap, bites his hand, heads to the work shed, get the first use of the chainsaw.
Yep, he goes to reach for the chainsaw behind it, like a cloth thing, and it's just an outline of chainsaw where the chainsaw should be. And his previously alive girlfriend corpse comes in the door wielding the chainsaw.
Yeah.
And there's a lovely scene where he fights with the corpse and then manages to chop the corpse in half, and blood just splatters and hits the light bulb, and everything's cast in a nice red hue.
Yeah, which was done in the first movie as well.
Yeah.
Because it's fresh in my mind, because I watched them to one day after the other. Yeah, but yeah, again, we saw the chainsaw in the first movie, but he never uses it. He kind of balks at using it against his then girlfriend's body in the first movie.
He doesn't balk here.
No, and then there's a silhouette of him getting into the head with the chainsaw, which is a good use of. He's probably looking to get it to an R-rated and not an X-rated at this stage. Going, yeah, let's not just go straight into showing a chainsaw going into a head.
Yeah, and it's very well done. It's actually a well shot scene. He's kind of laughing while he's doing it as well, which is amazing.
Yeah. He's going into. You know what? I kind of got. I got Ren and Stimpy from this movie a lot.
There is a feel to it, yeah. The absolute craziness of it all, and
especially
Stimpy.
But like every time,
idiot.
Yeah, but like every episode of Ren and Stimpy, one of them goes insane. Usually Ren, and there's a Dutch angle happens, and it sort of does a stillness of his crazy face. And I think
you can see the hairs and the spots, and there's a lot of that. I think real close up on Bruce Campbell, where he's just losing the plot.
Yeah, and the next couple of scenes are crazy because he goes to the mirror and the mirror madness, and the kid reaches out and grabs.
I forgot about that scene. I actually love it because I thought he was looking in the mirror. He clearly wasn't. It was like a double in front of it.
Yeah. It's very good. And he was very Jim Carrey as well at times, especially this scene.
He's got a very plastic face.
Yeah.
You can put it in all sort of contorted sort of fashions. But it's perfect for this. You know, he's losing his marbles, running out with a chainsaw for a hand. Yeah.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Sorry.
Nearly. Soon, because what happens next is his hand becomes possessed. And this is a massive thread throughout the entire movie is his hand, and basically animalizes the hand. It makes little squeaky noises, and it's not a hand anymore. It's possessed.
It flips him the bird as he's trying to kill it.
yeah, and it's like what movie does this remind me of? I don't know. I just was like, this is very familiar. Not this movie, but like just I don't know. It's animalizing something that's not an animal, and then
there's a shout out to the Addams Family here with
the
Thing.
True.
The Thing.
Yeah, it's Thing. Yeah, that's true. Anyways, there's a great scene in the kitchen.
He's falling asleep in the kitchen because he's been up God knows how long, and the hand's just moving around the place. Now he's been shouting at the hand or shouting at the house, "Give me back my hand, you feckers!"
Yeah.
And he falls asleep a few hours later, I'm assuming, and he's at the sink and he's picking up, or his hand looks at him and goes, "Oh, you're asleep." Starts whacking him over the head with plates.
Yeah, just constantly plate smashing. It's very good, and it's ad-libbed. It was ad-libbed, and Sam took the first take of it and said...
It's great physical comedy. Like he's brilliant at this, Bruce.
Probably Jim Carrey would have done this great as well, but Bruce Campbell's... He's the man.
He is, for beating the crap out of himself.
Yeah.
I love when he eventually knocks himself to the ground. Well, his hand knocks him down to the ground and knocks him unconscious with multiple plates. And I love the scene where he's like, knocked him unconscious, and he's slowly crawling towards a meat cleaver.
Yeah. And, but no. His other hand comes to the rescue.
Bruce was playing dead.
Yeah. And so he chops his hand off and utters, "Who's laughing now?"
Yeah, and every time there's a chainsaw scene or a deep cut, the blood just gushes.
Yeah.
Comically so, and it's all the better for it.
Yeah. Of course, the joke is he puts a farewell to arms book on top of the bucket that he puts over the hand.
Of course, it doesn't work because the bucket just walks off in the background as he's doing something. I can't remember what he's doing in the foreground, but the bucket slowly slides away and he turns around and goes,
Yeah. I think there's an entire section where just everything is chaos and insanity. Everything, he's chasing after the hand now, and then just blood just gushes out of the wall. It just sprays him for like a minute straight.
Yeah, that's where he takes the shotgun to... he sees that the hand's gone into the crawl space behind the wall, and he takes the shotgun. He thinks he's hit it, because he hears but no, a little trickle of blood goes, and he goes, yes, and then splat.
crazy. Not the first time or last time that'll be a torrent of blood. But then it's like in crazy just madness where everything is laughing in the house. Very like every inanimate object in the house is laughing, and he's just laughing with it.
Yeah,
very Queens of the Stone Age deer on the wall. No one knows music
pretty
video.
Much the same animation for it.
Yeah. I didn't have a chance to look this up, but Foo Fighters' Everlong video is influenced by this, right? Do you remember the Foo Fighters Everlong video where they're just?
I don't. I should have.
You should look that up after this episode, because I after just watching this, I knew it was based on a movie. The video, it's all this Dutch angles in one cabin room, and I think it's on this Evil Dead 2. And if I'm wrong, forgive me, everybody. But I believe I'm 99% correct with that one. In the meantime, archaeologist and friend has met some local yokels, and they've said, "Yeah, I will get you along the trail." So they arrive. He shoots at them. They come in and fuck him about and chuck him in the basement.
In fairness, they knocked on the door and he shot one of them through the door. So their reaction is probably accurate. When they come in as well, and the daughter of Professor What's-His-Face is freaking out, going, "What have you done with my parents? There's blood everywhere. The hell you doing with my parents?"
There's a chainsaw on the floor.
A chainsaw and blood covered everywhere. You've killed my parents, haven't you?
She's perfectly in the right, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, when he's down there, Henrietta, the archaeologist's wife, is down there too, because she's dead. She was the first one possessed by the demons.
She certainly was. But
then all hell breaks loose, literally.
Before they find that out, they play the tape, and then it's Daddy Professor saying, "Oh dear God, what have I done? I read the book, and now the missus is possessed." And they all look to the door, and Ash starts shouting up, "Could you let me up?"
Yeah, so they're sort of going, "Oh, he's not killed everybody." That was exactly the same tape that was played in the first movie as well. It's like, my wife is fucked. So there's a crazy scene about now where everybody goes haywire and Henrietta's bloody about, and the archaeologist's friend gets possessed as well, and there's a flying eyeball scene.
Oh yeah, which one was the eyeball? It was one of the Hicks, wasn't it?
Yeah,
sorry, one of the locals.
Yeah, one of the yokels. I remember seeing a little eyeball with the optic nerve on it in the Book of the Dead in the first movie. So I was wondering if this was a sort of it's a coincidence, but but it was just interesting to see. Oh, there you go. And then everybody shouts "Dead by Dawn," which I wonder, did Deicide get influenced by this movie too? Because Deicide had a song called "Dead by Dawn." I don't know. You probably never got into Deicide.
Not really, a bit heavy for my liking. But there's also been a couple of computer games called Dead by Dawn, and I'm pretty damn sure they were influenced by this.
Well, it's a good premise. It's a good theme, like Dead by Dawn. It's timed. It's kind of threatening. It's
a promise.
Lethal. It's a promise. Yeah. So Ed, I think that was the archaeologist's friend. He's dead.
He's possessed. The boyfriend of the daughter of the professor. He gets an axe to the face.
He does. Well deserved too.
Yeah. In fairness to Ash, he might be a complete idiot. He's kind of capable when it comes to whacking things over the head with chainsaws and axes.
Yeah, he was a bit reluctant in the first movie. He relied on his friend in the first movie a little bit at the start of all the carry on that happened. And so I was like, you're a little bit of a wuss. Well, yeah, he's probably in the throes of madness as well. The clock stops at this point, and everything goes quiet. The clock stopped in Evil Dead 1, 2, which sort of then it started again at the end of the movie.
You never want a clock to stop in a horror movie.
No. So then there's just a cacophony of sounds and stuff, and it's crazy. And at this point, we see Annie's father appear in the bedroom, going, "Yo,
recite the book, passage." MF.
Yeah,
save my soul.
Yeah, first passage will physically produce the demon. The second passage will create the rift to piss them out.
Yeah, they have this up later on, but we'll talk about that when it happens.
Yeah. So obviously, at the end of that scene, Bobby Joe is like, "You're
Why are
holding
you
my
holding my
hand too
hand so
tight."
hard?
Of course, it's our old thing, Mister Thing.
He's back, baby.
So her only course of action is to run wildly into the forest.
Not a great move.
No. So what happens to her in the forest is very poignant, and I think maybe very precisely done by Sam and the producers, because I was reading up about Evil Dead 1, the first movie, obviously. So there's a scene, exact same scene here with a couple of differences. So Bobby Joe runs out and twigs and branches just wrap around her and drag her and smash her into the tree or whatever, and put one of the branches down her mouth at some point, rips away her clothes a little bit. In the first movie, the woman gets a little bit more, how shall I put it, invasively attacked, I guess.
Yeah,
Would be the politically correct way of putting it. But they said it was their like, they were not happy they kept it in. Like, they shot it, produced it,
and
edited
like,
it.
Maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, we're like, no, I don't. I feel bad for putting that in. So I guess they were like going, let's do it again, and let's not have that sort of level of torture.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough. What else? I guess. Our yokel friend takes over. He's like going, yeah, you're not reciting any passages. I'm taking you out to the forest so you can find Bobby Joe.
Yeah, he chucks the pages that they have in hand that are going to save them into the basement with the witch, or the mum, I should say.
Yeah.
But as Ash calls her, the witch.
Yeah. So they head out there, and then, unfortunately, the demon comes racing out of the forest, and Ash gets it, not the yokel. Yokel gets chucked into the tree.
He's fine. He's just a little bit
winded. A little bit dazed.
For now.
Yeah, Annie runs back to the hut, and then evil Ash comes and does sort of a shining at the door. He doesn't have an axe, though. He does it with his fists.
Yep.
And then suddenly she has the sword from Evil Dead 1 in her hand. So where did that come from?
I'd call it more of a spine dagger than a sword. Yeah.
It's very sort of H.R. Geiger type dagger.
Very much, yeah. Yes, it's very ceremonial. So it's so she's running around the place wielding this and freaking out when somebody comes to the door.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
It's not Ash the demon. It was the only useful human left.
Yeah, his name is Jake. I wrote it down at this point. I don't know why I wrote it down at this point.
Well, yeah. Jake's got a stake in the back.
Yeah, Jake's got a stake, and it aches. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so... Henrietta gets Jake from the attic, or from the basement then, drags him in, blood spews up out of it.
Yep, not a gusher here.
Not a gusher.
It was kind of a dick move from Annie here, because she drags Jake in. Fair enough, that's good. But she leaves him right beside the trapdoor to the basement.
Yeah, he's like going, look at the windows, look for him at the windows. So she goes over the windows. He tells her to. He's obviously losing blood and not thinking straight anyway.
He's dying. He's dead anyway. He loses blood a lot quicker, no, is the point.
Yeah. Anyway, Evil Ash comes in and chucks Annie against the wall, knocks her out for a bit. Finds a necklace, which again, like in Evil Dead 1, is shaped like a skull on the ground.
But it reminds him of Linda, and whatever's left of Ash goes, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm a good guy. But Annie wants to try to axe him anyway, which is quite funny.
And I love it when he gets back his face back and he's looking like himself again. And she just doesn't go, nah, you're still the bad guy. I'm going to keep axing you.
Yeah. But it's like, she goes for him one time, then they're like taking a rest, and he's like going, oh, good, she knows. And then she goes at him again. It's like quite off-putting.
I agree with her on that, though, because she just seen her mother in the basement with a demon face, and then face changes back to her mother's face.
True.
So, what can you trust? It's best just to axe everything.
True. Well, she does say to him, for how long are you good? Are you back to normal?
It's a good question. It's been possessed twice at this point.
Yeah. Well, at this point, it's time for the whole cultural, everybody knows he gets a chainsaw for an arm. So they head to the woodshed and he puts a chainsaw on his arm. And he says the immortal word,
groovy.
Did you say a lot of that in Army of Darkness?
Oh, he goes crazy with it in Army of Darkness. They don't bother pretending it's anything that resembles a horror movie in Army of Darkness. It's him running around driving a car through skeletons and shooting things with a shotgun, which he now
unlimited
calls
shells.
his boomstick.
Oh, is that where it came from?
Yeah, it's from this movie. Huh. And he seems to have a lot of fuel for both the car and the chainsaw.
And shells for the boomstick.
Yeah, yeah. He gets an alchemist to make him some stuff, if I remember correctly.
It's always good to have an alchemist.
Ah, yeah. I don't leave home with an alchemist.
Yeah. Anyway, he heads down to the basement to get the pages and, throws them up to Annie and gets grabbed by Henrietta. And he also tells her to do something at the end. Swallow this.
Oh, boom. Yes. I'll swallow your soul. I'll swallow your soul. I'll swallow your soul. Swallow this boomstick.
Yeah. But at this time, all the trees decide to attack the huts because everybody's going nuts and the entire...
Yeah, I wrote down here, Saruman getting picked on by the ants again.
Oh. A very Lord of the Rings of you.
Lord of the boomstick.
I was a little less literary and went Whopping Willow and Harry Potter.
Hey, it's still literary. It's
a bit more plain, though. A bit more lowbrow, I would say. Yeah. Anyway, they're going nuts. And so she does the first passage and Applehead comes along.
Yeah, but she also gets a knife, she gets the spine stake in the spine.
Yeah.
At this point, so she hasn't finished the incantation or whatever we're calling it.
Yeah, and Ash is going, you haven't read the second one? Well, I've got a fucking sword in my fucking stomach.
Yeah, so she's kind of fucked. She's bleeding out.
Yeah. Ash looks at Applehead and his hair turns grey a little bit.
It does. Then an arm comes through the window and grabs Ash.
Yeah.
But Ash doesn't give up at this point.
No.
Kicking Applehead in the face. He's shooting him with the shotgun, and then he gets the old chainsaw going.
Right into the cornea.
Eyeball. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
But Annie has enough juice left in her to finish the last couple of lines and opens the portal.
Yeah, opens the portal and everything gets sucked in. Everything.
Absolutely everything. Bad guys, trees, houses, stoves, Ash.
The stove flies past Ash and Ash goes quickly along with it. The plank nearly saves him, but he heads on in. The car goes first, though.
Yeah, which is good. That helps in the next movie.
So he goes through. It's kind of like 2001: A Space Odyssey. The whole vortex and colorful lights and everything in the portal, and then we cut to a desert scene, and the car lands, and then Ash lands, and then the knights that go turn
He's
up
not
around
the Messiah. Sorry, different movie.
No. Lots of movie links in here. Yeah, so they're about to kick him in the face when a deadite,
the fucking deadites again,
flies in, a witch
stands
type
up,
dragon,
looking dramatic, and pulls out his boomstick and takes the head off it.
Yeah, boom.
Then some young fella at the back goes, "Oh my God, he fell from the sky and he saved us. He's the prophesized one.
All
Yay.
hail. All hail." No.
No. No. Earlier, or halfway through the movie, the girl's reading from the book, and it's a picture of a guy holding up a chainsaw-looking thing in one hand and a boomstick-looking thing in the other. So it was prophesized.
You think he had that? Yeah, you think at that point he realized, or you think, oh my God, what have I got myself in for now?
Probably the latter, because Ash is an idiot.
A deadite slayer idiot.
That he is the prophesized one, so,
Yeah.
He might be a complete turnip, but he's good at one thing.
Killing deadites.
Killing deadites.
Killing the dead, the evil dead. I think I got mixed up at some point. I thought, then I realized, Night of the Living Dead is a thing as well.
Oh yeah, completely different thing.
Yeah,
that's a good movie actually. That's quite old as well.
Yeah, I don't know what the time
black
frame.
And white.
Yeah, but is that the one with the movie poster of the hand coming out of the ground of the? or
Oh, it
maybe.
could be. Could
So I
be.
got mixed up. I thought this was.
That doesn't end well for the main character either. He gets shot in the face.
Oh,
Sorry, ruined it for everybody.
yeah. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert, he
Yeah,
dies.
yeah. Um, I think I realized I did the Metacritic quotes before we rated them for the last probably 10 episodes, and I don't think I used to do that. I think we used to give ratings ourselves for all our categories and then did the Metacritic quotes. So let me go back to that just to get my head into the same thing. So what are you giving plot wise?
Plot run of the mill horror story, apart from the comedy elements. I'm going to give it 2.5.
Yeah, I am giving the same for it. It's just a typical horror movie. I don't really dig horror movies, but this one's funny and
Yeah.
got lots of sort of gore in it. Like, obviously not. It's very whittled down for our 2024 brains right now. We've seen everything and worse on the
Yeah,
internet
and
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 other
there's
movies.
zero jump scares in this. It's not scary.
No,
Gory.
it's gory, and sometimes the loud jump sort of audio stings or get annoying a little bit. It's just like, okay, fair enough, chill out.
Yeah, but you're right. By today's standards, this is not scary at all. But it doesn't lose much for that fact. In fact, I prefer not to be scary because I'm a coward.
um, yeah. I'm just giving acting 2.5 as well. I think Bruce is cool. I think he traverses comedy, manicness,
Yeah,
and the other elements of a horror movie very well himself. The other actors don't really mean anything.
fully agree on the score. I have 2.5 written down. And without Bruce, this would be an awful movie. He
Yeah.
carries it so hard.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, there's a lot of times in this, if it wasn't produced, directed the way, and I didn't have Bruce, sort of Tommy Wiseau type levels
Oh
at
yeah,
times,
but
you know?
the point being that it knows it. Unlike
Right.
Tommy, he
Right.
had no bloody idea how ridiculous what he was doing is.
True.
This is tongue in cheek. This knows it's stupid at times.
Right. Yeah, yeah. That's the difference. Sound brackets track, I'm giving 2. Like, the sound, there is no music. I think the audio jump stings annoyed me a little bit, so I'm just going just below average on this one.
I stuck down a 3 because I actually enjoyed the jump stings and I enjoyed the noises as the camera's chasing him along the place.
Yeah, I kind of got annoyed with those noises. That's just personal
Cool.
preference.
It's not the footsteps that got you this time.
No footsteps. Just it was a bit of a cacophony for me at times, sort of hourly overload for me.
It is quite a manic film, and the sound is quite manic to go along with it. So it is kind of sensory overload at times.
Yeah,
I think intentionally so, but I can get how that can be grating.
yeah. I gave production 3. I think it's cool. I think he did a good job in 1987 with doing what he needed to do to make a gore fest and do all the different sort of actions and different sort of methods for creating the evil dead, whether it's stop motion, whether it's uniforms, outfits, or costumes, or whatever. And it all comes together, I think, to be better than averagely produced movie.
I threw a 3.5 in it. I love the production on this. And considering the 12 euro he used to make this movie, he's done an awful lot of work with it. It just goes to prove that you don't necessarily need a massive budget if you can be creative in how you do things, which is exactly what he was here.
Yeah.
And I think some of the cinematography is actually very interesting as well. And I think this movie's been very influential in cinema.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Well, you can just see what we've, come up with here. Like, obviously groovy is a thing that comes in. Boomstick, I didn't know was initially here.
Yeah. I think it's more Boomstick is in the second or the third movie. Army of Darkness.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's not mentioned here. But yeah, I think a lot of people are influenced by this, even more so than the first one. I think this one ramps up the comedy levels, and I think it is, if when you have Stephen King fighting your battles for you, trying to get it produced, then you're in for a good run.
Yeah, yeah, and I read somewhere. Actually, I listened to an interview with Quentin Tarantino, the king of
Oh,
producers or directors, and he's a massive fan of this. And he said it influenced him in several ways. I'm
oh,
guessing
really?
the blood gushing in Kill Bill might be influenced here.
Yeah, I bet. And even just the one room scenes, like Quentin Tarantino does that
Oh yeah,
very well. If it's the diner in Pulp Fiction or the cabin in the French Alps in Inglorious Bastards, or the entire
yeah.
movie of that Western one,
That's a great movie.
Hateful Eight.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Hateful
yeah,
Eight. He brings it to a new level, but he's using dialogue mostly to produce the outstanding tension that he always has in the single room events.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
different.
Yes, yeah, different genre. Yeah, maybe Quentin should have given his shot at making a horror movie. He did produce a couple.
He did. He was involved with Dust Till Dawn, which was
Yeah,
I loved. It's similar in many ways, actually. The ridiculous
yeah,
comic gore. Um, he did do, was it Grindhouse, which was
yeah, yeah.
which actually wasn't very good. I know some people love it. I despise it.
Despise it.
Really, because I was expecting so much out of it because it's a Tarantino movie, and I was like, right, that's
Yeah,
nothing compared to what I'm expecting.
yeah. I obviously didn't have full reign over it, so it
Yeah.
loses the varnish, the Quentin varnish. Chicago Reader gave it 30 out of 100. The effects are just as delirious this time around, but the nightmare poetry has vanished, along with the sense of archetypal purpose and narrative inevitability that held the Jack in the Box original together.
Twaddle.
Twaddle. Film Threat gave it 100. Thanks to Sam Raimi's inventive style and Bruce Campbell's hysterical performance, the horror comedy genre has grown into a legitimate genre, but Evil Dead 2 will forever be the king.
See, yeah, and that's important. There's an important point there. The horror comedy genre, it was kind of established by this movie. So you wouldn't have had movies like Shaun of the Dead without this, and the world would be a much more depressing place without that.
Right, true. Yeah, it's definitely an important movie to watch if you haven't watched, and if you like your horror stuff, go watch
Yeah,
it.
just
Watch
don't
the
expect to
first
be
one.
scared.
No, I don't even know if people were scared back then watching it.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I might have. I watched it some 20 years ago, and I can't remember being scared then either.
It just doesn't look to me as if it would be scary,
No, there's
Like
nothing. There's no jump scares, really. Not really.
if you watch The Omen or if you watch The Exorcists, it's meant to be bloody scary.
Yep, this is not that.
No, it's something else, and that's why genre creating obviously makes for innovation and a
Yeah,
memorable movie.
I'm all for unique movies and trying something different. Sometimes it works and you get something amazing, so that stands out like this. And I'm not saying that this is an amazing movie, but it is an important and a decent movie in its own rights. But it is
Yeah,
an important movie.
yeah. Well, let's burn the Book of the Dead then and close
Read the
this
second
portal
passage,
up.
Colin.
Oh yeah, let's read the second passage and get transported into 1300s and close this up. All right, so let's roll our next random number and see what movie we get in Metacritic's all-time movie list. And we get 11,762.
Oh, where's that big one?
And movie 11,762 is The Money Pit from 1986.
Oh,
Do you know
I've
it?
seen this one. This is Meg Ryan, is it? No.
It is not, but it is Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, sorry. Yes, that's why I'm thinking Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they buy a house and it's a money pit.
Yes.
Hilarity ensues.
That's only slightly shorter than the summary that's on Metacritic's page. A young couple struggles to repair a hopelessly dilapidated house.
It's not the worst of movies. I'm reasonably okay. It's been a long time since I've seen this.
It's an 80s comedy, you know. What are you going to do about it? Oh, it's the woman from Cheers. It's Shelley Long.
Yeah.
Directed by Richard Benjamin, who directed Mermaids, directed Little Nikita. Okay. My Stepmother is an Alien. All those 80s.
All the
80s.
classics.
All the classic 80s ones.
Yeah.
Written by David Giler, written by David Giler, who produced Alien and Aliens. So I'm not expecting. And all the aliens looks like, and First Blood, Rambo First Blood.
Okay, so that's
why did he go to the money pit?
They're different. They're very different. They're true and utter classics.
He loves Alien because he's done everything, all the new Aliens too, like all the bad ones, like Alien vs. Predator, Alien vs. Predator, Requiem.
Oh, God, one of the worst movies ever.
Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Prometheus, producer.
Prometheus is okay.
Alien Covenant.
Isn't okay.
Yeah, interesting. All right, well, the money pit, I know my wife very much loves the money pit. So I probably won't like it at all. But it's only 1 hour and 31 minutes, so it's not going to be too much of a chore. And it's, it's a PG movie. It's not going to be challenging or deep. It's going to be just, oh my God, my foot fell through the roof.
Oh. I think it's standard rom-com.
From the 80s.
Yeah, it's not going to challenge us in any great way, but I don't think it's going to be a terrible movie.
That'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be average, I'm guessing. It's got a Metascore of 49 and a user score of 6.7. So audience people like it a little more than the critics. So yeah, okay. So let's do that in episode 62, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.
Cheerio.